Thanks for joining us. In this audit, we looked at the Ministry of Children and Family Development's oversight of contracted residential services for children and youth in care. The ministry contracts with about 100 for-profit and not-for-profit service providers to provide housing, food, and other supports for about 1,150 children and youth in care on a yearly basis. These services are called contracted residential services, and they deliver care for some of the most vulnerable children and youth in care, including those with highly complex needs. Contracted residential services are typically more intensive and expensive than other care options. Overall, we found that the ministry was not providing effective oversight of contracted residential services for children and youth in care. We found that the ministry hadn't defined what contracted residential services should look like or when to use them. This is, in part, because the services evolved on an ad hoc basis to respond to individual and emergency situations. As well, the ministry hadn't determined the right type and number of services to meet needs. Because of this, the ministry was struggling to match the specific needs of individual children and youth to appropriate service providers. For example, Indigenous children and youth were often in placements without an Indigenous cultural component. The ministry also needs to improve its partnership with delegated Aboriginal agencies in planning and contracting for residential services throughout the province. Along with the ministry, these agencies share the responsibility for the provision of child welfare services for Indigenous children and youth in BC. We found, however, that the ministry did little consultation or collaboration with these agencies when making changes to policy and practice around contracted residential services. We also found that the ministry hadn't set sufficient quality standards for contracted residential services and didn't adequately monitor the quality of care that contractors provided. It also hadn't set sufficient quality standards for ministry staff providing oversight of contracted residential services, and was not adequately monitoring how oversight was being provided by ministry staff. In the end, this led to a higher risk that children and youth weren't receiving the quality or type of services they needed because the ministry didn't know the quality of the placements it was using. Finally, we found that the ministry didn't have an effective contract management framework in place. This meant that ministry staff responsible for managing the contracts didn't have the right training or support they needed. Contracts between the service providers and the ministry weren't focused on improving outcomes for children and youth. Also, the ministry did little monitoring against the contract deliverables to know if contractors were delivering the expected services. In conclusion, we made 4 recommendations to improve the ministry's oversight of contracted residential services so it can better meet its obligations to children and youth in care. These recommendations should be implemented in partnership with delegated Aboriginal agencies and Indigenous communities. The ministry has begun to take action to improve its oversight and has accepted all of our recommendations. Children and youth in care should be in placements where they are safe, their needs are met, and their rights are respected. Ultimately, this is about improving their lives. That's our report summary for today. Thank you for joining us. We'd like to encourage you to read the full report. It and our other reports are available on our website at www.bcauditor.com.